is Movietone. Jeffrey Sumner reporting. Of all scientific advances achieved in the past year, rockets have made the greatest impact on the mind of man. Armed as these missiles can be with nuclear warheads, they point skywards with terrifying implications. 1957, the year of the rocket, has indeed brought the theory of devastating push-button warfare very close to fact. We have reached a climax of scientific wonders that have been achieved in less than a lifetime. Only 50 or 60 years ago, life in Britain was quiet and peaceful and leisurely. Old pictures tell the story of those times. How far away they seem today, and yet it's not so long ago. Round about the turn of the century, horsepower for the vast majority of people still meant horses. It all looks quite funny now, doesn't it? Speed was unimportant except in real emergency, and then speed was available. Speed? Well, what about the bike? Rather daringly, the ladies take to wheels, but no scorching, please. What was it like at the seaside in those quiet, uncomplicated days? For the bathing bell, distinctly complicated, I'm afraid. Still, this way, they weren't embarrassed by the presence of a man. But the gay merry-go-round of those days was not destined to last forever. Times were changing. People began to travel by motor. The veterans of today were the latest models then. Motoring wasn't all. People now spoke seriously about the conquest of the air. They certainly had faith. As for rockets, they simply meant fireworks. Then, in 1914, the Kaiser went to war. An era came to a full stop. 4 terrible years of conflict give an impetus to invention that's maintained right up to World War II, the war that ushered in the atomic age. Atomic power, fantastic as a means of destruction, also has great implications for peaceful purposes. Britain was quick to put the giant to work for mankind's benefit. Calder Hall was the world's first full-scale atomic plant for the supply of electricity. It blazed a new trail, and so did the Cobaltron, the latest apparatus brought into operation in the fight against cancer. The first full-size British cobalt gun in a London hospital sends a beam through a patient equal in power to X-rays working at 3 million volts. Not a new miracle cure, but a powerful ally in the battle with disease. Britain has laid great emphasis on the employment of atomic science in the field of medicine. A notable example is the increasingly large production of isotopes, which has proved invaluable to medical science. They are supplied to many parts of the world from British laboratories, and if the supply cannot keep up with the demand, that is surely proof of the importance of this scientific development. In another scientific field, the giant radar telescope at Jodrell Bank in Cheshire was built as an aid to probing of outer space. In the event, it had scarcely been completed before its services were urgently required in charting the course of the Russian Earth satellites. The launching of the first Sputnik was naturally a great triumph for the men of the Kremlin. If nothing else, its propaganda value was immense. It was headline news everywhere. The satellites, projected by rockets to a height of several hundred miles, were surely the biggest sensation of 1957. This diagram indicates the probable multi-stage process by which the satellites were sent up on their amazing mission. Then round and round the globe at 18,000 miles an hour, bleep bleeping to Moscow and the world. Apparent proof that Russia could deliver an H-bomb at long range by rocket. In a divided world, the H-bomb means that civilization itself is at stake. This is a glimpse of the appalling power unleashed by the nuclear weapon. Not very pretty, is it? Yet this could be the fate that overtakes humanity. A grim scene of utter obliteration that could be repeated in the great capitals of the world. In the magnificent towering city of New York, for example, teeming with its vast population of over 8 million people. In the beautiful city of Paris, the gay city and symbol of an ancient civilization. In Moscow, the nerve center of the communist world. Moscow, on which perhaps the fate of the world depends. In London, which for over 1,000 years has stood for the great ideals of freedom and of faith. The nuclear threat hangs over humanity. Peoples of every race and every creed, people in every walk of life as they move forward into 1958, face the one overriding question. Is man to use his new gigantic power for prosperity and progress? Or is his long-enduring struggle to be master of his fate simply to be shattered at a stroke